to all of you. I represent Nabard, which is supporting Government of India in all their initiatives. Whatever Devesh Chaturvedi has told, I think we are at the cutting edge level, working along with the state governments, realizing the vision of the Government of India, because as you all know, many of these aspects of rural sector are under the realm of state governments. So Government of India, once they give a framework of what is happening, what intends to happen, it has to be translated to actions at the field level, and Nabard is supporting the state governments in realizing that vision. Today, I've seen that the theme of the summit is women in rural economy. Ideally so, because as said earlier, this is the International Year of Women Farmer. In India, if you see the composition, the gender, almost 50%, of course, 45 to 50% are comprising of women, and because of historical reasons, women are not owners of land, and they were excluded from meaningful economic activity, and that is where some sort of a formalization need to be there, because once they don't have a document, they don't have an economic activity, I think the formalization will become difficult, and that is how the idea of self-help group has happened, because women come together and then do some activities and present those activities to the formal systems, including banks. And early 90s, Reserve Bank of India also came out with recognizing these informal institutions. SHGs are, the self-help groups are basically informal institutions without any registration or any legal identity. So there was a classical regulatory forbearances given in terms of recognizing them as quasi-legal entity, and that is where the SHG group, SHGs started opening accounts, and Nabard was supporting those initiatives. As of now, around 17 crore rural households are covered under self-help group, and out of which we have substantial numbers, because almost 95% are women, because women, we found, they are close knit, and they are very enterprising, and they are good customers of banks as well. So in that context, when you see, as of now, there are substantial savings also are mobilized, and right now 1.45 crore of SHGs are savings linked, out of which 83 lakhs are credit linked, with an outstanding bank credit of close to around 3 lakh crores. So now, this last 20 years, when the SHG movement gained momentum, and right now they are at a distinct phase where these SHGs need to transform themselves as rural enterprises, because over a period, they need to actually contribute to the GDP, and that is where Government of India is coming out with transforming SHG members into rural entrepreneurs. In that context, we are working with both Agriculture Department and also with Rural Development Department, because now the value chains in the rural areas are not that fixed. So we need to have a lot of processing at the near farm gate level, and that too at the distributed level, small scale, not at the larger scale. So in that context, women are the ideal entrepreneurs to make that happen. And in that context, the FPO movement, which is now there, which FPOs are nothing but rural enterprises, either at the input side or at the output aggregating side, the FPOs will play a larger role. And recognizing that, Government of India came out with that 10,000 FPO program. By now, we have already formed within Nabard around 7,000 FPOs, of which substantial number of FPO members are women, and we have also formed women focused FPOs or women only FPOs, that is around 250 FPOs have been formed. And our experience is that these women FPOs, they are now taking leaf out of whatever success are there in the SHGs. Women FPOs are closely knit, more closely knit. And now we are working with Rural Development Department, where the transactions which are happening within the NRLM ecosystem can be now leveraged to transform these SHG members into entrepreneurs. And we are now working with banks for developing credit products suiting those, because these need a differential treatment, not just the usual bank credit product may not work there. So, and then we need to do a lot of hand holding also, because we need to train these people to become better entrepreneurs. So we have our own programs like micro enterprises development programs and livelihood enterprises development programs, and these are now being dovetailed into the changing policies of the Government of India. And within Nabard, another flagship program is the watershed development program, where climate resilient aspects are also now getting integrated, because in rural sector and particularly agriculture sector, climate risk has already materialized. And we need to make those players in the rural sector protect their livelihood first and then move ahead with the resilience. So protect their livelihood means protecting the current income. For that, a lot of capacity building need to be there. The awareness among the people also should be there, because they may not be aware that they are already facing or already subject to those risks, and as a result their incomes are being affected. So in the current context of the International Year of Women, I'll see that there are three important things which matters for India. One from the economic imperative, the second from the climate resilience imperative, and third from the social stability imperative. From the economic imperative, we need to close the gender gap in agriculture, which by itself can increase the productivity, because now production agriculture and processing agriculture also, they should go hand in hand. India is producing sufficient agriculture produces for meeting its needs, but then much of these are not reaching the consumer table. So there need to be proper value chains to take the 100% of the production or near 100% of the production to the consumer table. And for that, I think the women enterprises will play a larger role. And we see that women reinvest their income in the welfare of the family, in the nutrition of the family, and also education. That means resilience within the households in terms of any untoward event happening will be better. They will be better equipped for meeting these risks. And then as I said earlier, integrating these women to value chain, which eventually will increase the rural GDP, because now these things are not actually happening, and as a result, destruction of the production is happening. So actually, we need to leverage whatever we are producing and compound that, so that rural GDP and then rural prosperity also improve. So now, in that context, as an economic imperative, I think empowering women farmer is not just a welfare policy, it is a growth strategy, because we need to grow our GDP and we need to ensure equity in that growth. For that to happen, economic imperative of rural women farmer need to be realized in a full context. Second is the climate resilience imperative, where most of the Indian cultivated area are rain-fed. So that means this climate resilience imperative is very important. In that context, women being frontline managers of water resources, they are managing the mixed cropping systems, including allied activities which are integrated, and the diversity in the activities in rural areas. So here, the climate adaptation in India will succeed only if women farmers are getting empowered. So that is the climate resilience imperative I want to focus on. Third is the social stability imperative, because we know women farmers earn and control income of rural households. So in that context, nutrition will improve, debt stress will reduce, migration, which is one of the important economic factor now, it can decline, and also the intergenerational outcomes will strengthen, because now once a family is better off, I think the next generation will be better off. So in that context, women are the stabilizers of the rural society. So in that, I like to mention now regarding some of the digitization initiatives also to augment whatever activities are happening at the rural level. We are seeing that future of agri commodities will be determined by how much digitization we are doing. So in that context, Nabard is enabling doorstep banking, digital bookkeeping, including of SHGs, The e-commerce onboarding, you might have heard about the ONDC initiative of the Government of India. Nabard is one of the first investors in ONDC, and we are working with ONDC to onboard farm producer organizations into the seller apps of ONDC. And then not only digital things, in the phygital manner also, in the gram dukans and mobile cards. In the last union budget, the current union budget, there was a discussion on she-marts to come in. So we are working with the Government of India because we have a precursor of that in terms of rural marts. And that context, we are now sharing our experiences with the government, how we can make it in a large scale, in a country scale, or how we can do. So in that context, we feel that digital access actually determines the market access. So the digital importance of the empowering women should not be forgotten. Now, ultra poor is one area we are focusing on. We are now having pilot projects on how to graduate this ultra poor, destitute women, those who are marginalized in the sense that they are at the bottommost level of the pyramid. So here we are working with destitute women for protecting their livelihoods and also building productive assets for them. We have a GRIP project, that is graduation of rural income projects with ultra poor, and here we want to have permanent solutions in graduating them into by integrating them to formal financial systems. So in the context of value chain fixing, I think we need to close a lot of gaps, the commodity market gap which is there. So here we are working with cooperatives in terms of improving the warehousing facilities. You might have heard about the world's largest grain storage structure program, which is announced by the Honorable Prime Minister. We are working with the Department of Cooperation to make that happen. Already around 500 of such cooperative storage structures are in the making. And we are also linking them to platforms. We are working with NCDEX also in how to link these storage structures to the derivative market so that there can be proper physical structures to help the farmer realize better income. Right now the problem is that the minimum support price, which is the government determined one, is a drain on the Exchequer. So we need to graduate that into market determined support prices, and that is where the commodity derivatives will help us. We are working with NCDEX to develop such derivatives, and we are now doing a pilot program where FPOs are encouraged to enter into put options for selling their produce, so that wherever they are coming out with the timing of the market, in that context they can keep the upside, because put option is one option on derivative contract where we need to pay a small fee so that your price is locked, and whatever upside is there, that farmers can keep. If there is a downside, then only the fee which is they have paid, that is the loss to the farmer. So that context, we can replace MSPs with market determined determined prices, and that is where some sort of a formalization and structural shift need to be there. I see around 5 important shifts should happen, structural shifts. One is that formal recognition of women as farmers. For that, the ownership of land with the farmers, now Government of India is encouraging a lot of such initiatives where women should own the farm. Even if they are not owning, their activities can be appropriately mapped in terms of digital means, in terms of iterative processes. That is where the Agri Stack initiative of Government of India also will be helping us in linking the farmer to the activity. Because now once a formal loan need to be given, KYC is ubiquitous. We can now, using the Aadhaar, you can identify the person. But linking that person to the activity, that is where the land as collateral or some documentations are needed. So if you can fix that to digital means, that is one area where the formalization of women farmers need to be there. The second structural shift is the gender responsiveness of the credit architecture. We are working with regional banks and cooperative banks to show them that how many of their customers who are female are availing credit. The gender lens, that is very important. We need to make available more credit to the female customers. So their gender responsive credit architecture need to be there. That is the second structural shift which I would like to have. Third is the proximity market infrastructure. That is where the great storage structures, the women as processors, all these things will come to play. And then the digital capacity, which I told earlier, that need to be scaled up. The fifth and last is that the leadership representation in the bodies, in the formal systems, governance bodies, in the cooperatives, in the farmers producer organizations. Already they have leadership participation in SHGs that needs to be translated to other bodies as well. In that context, I think the lot of actions need to be there. Government is already taking a lot of initiatives. I think the functions like this will augment the activities taken by various players, and Nabard will be happy to associate with each of these activities at the grassroots level. Thank you for giving this opportunity, and well done Hindu Business Line to organize this function. Thank you.